If you have hands instead of little tentacles like me, you probably spend most of your life looking at hands. Especially if you're like Tamura Shigaraki, this edgelord from My Hero Academia who wears hands all over. Or Edward Scissorhands, who, sit down, this may shock you, has scissors for hands. See, people who make art are always looking at hands making art. So art tends to feature hands, often in very strange, yet strangely similar ways. Let me try to put a finger on it. Have you seen I Lost My Body? It's a French animated film on Netflix I'm kinda struggling to interpret. It's a non-linear magical realism fantasy drama, and it's French, so I'm really not sure where to begin. But it stars a severed hand, so let's start with Tamura, who's seriously committed to this theme he's got going. Tamura has the superpower to disintegrate people by touching them, which he discovered by accidentally disintegrating his family. But hey, free hands. He wears the hands because they make him feel calm, which I personally can't relate to. But they also make him feel nauseated, and yeah, I can get that. But when he fights this pointy boy here, he loses most of his hands, and destroys a hand himself, symbolizing his liberation from his past. He keeps one hand though, gotta have a logo. So Tamura's hands connect him to a regrettable family incident. That kinda covers Edward here, too. His wacky inventor gave him scissor hands because, well, anyway, the wacky inventor died before Edward could get his regular hands, so he's stuck with the sticklers. His hands symbolize how the trauma of losing a parent can leave us unfinished in a way which society finds dangerous until it happens to be useful. Okay, so far so good. In I Lost My Body, the severed hand is related to family trauma too, just in a less direct, more Frenchy way. The movie starts with the main character's parents teaching him how to catch a fly, and then the main character's parents die in a car crash, and years later the main character catches a fly, too close to a hand-cutting-off machine. Hand trauma, check. Family trauma, check. But then the hand starts moving around on its own. What's that about? Usually severed hands just kinda flop. Look at Star Wars. Arms and hands get cut off all the time, and unless there's some non-canon malarkey I don't know about, they usually stay put. Maybe Maz Kanata had Luke's lightsaber because the hand Vader cut off crawled from Cloud City to Takodana, but I doubt it. George Lucas has said himself that people lose limbs in Star Wars because that's what happens when you play with laser swords. There's no metaphorical undertone giving these limbs life. So let's look at hands which do move on their own. The first to come to my mind is Thing from the Addams Family. The Addams have all sorts of weird friends, including a mysterious hand which pops out of boxes to help out. The movies used CG, so Thing could run free and roller skate and stuff. But Thing isn't someone's hand. It's just Thing. Are there other examples of animated hands which belong to someone? Aha! In The Evil Dead 2, Bruce Campbell's hand is possessed after it's bit by his decapitated girlfriend. The hand tries to kill him, so Bruce cuts it off and replaces it with a chainsaw. The hand moves on its own and keeps bothering him throughout the movie. A family trauma results in a bodily trauma, resulting in an animated appendage. Sounds right on the money. But the hand is possessed. It's not Bruce Campbell's hand in the same way I Lost My Body's hand still belongs to its protagonist. We're not quite there. Okay, bear with me. In the British comedy Red Dwarf, there's an episode where the robot Crichton is trapped away from his friends. He chops off a hand and puts an eyeball on it to go fetch help. The hand spider causes a bit of a fright, but ultimately gets through to the rest of the crew and results in Crichton's rescue. That's the closest to I Lost My Body I can find. I'm serious. I'm sure that there's a better parallel out there, but this is the best I can think of. Both these stories are about a social trauma, supplemented with physical trauma, which develops a life of its own to resolve the social trauma. In I Lost My Body, the separated hand can't bring the main character back to his parents like the hand spider can lead Lister to Crichton, nor can it recombine with the main character's arm like Crichton's robotic hand can pop back on his wrist. But instead, the hand makes a little sugar igloo, which is very emotionally resonant for the Frenchie love interest. Social trauma, parents dying. Physical trauma, hand cut off and tours Paris. Social resolution, Frenchie love interest. Both these sources use a severed animated hand for similar story beats. Maybe both of these stories are actually tapping into the same larger source. Let's find a super story containing both of these and more. No, no, no. Aha! This one stars a Scotsman, so it's even in line with the European flavor we've got going on. Doctor Who is a long-running TV show about a time-traveling alien who can be reincarnated when he's killed. That means writers can keep the show relevant by swapping out the main actor for a more popular one. The 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, gets his hand chopped off. But his friend Rose shouldn't worry. The hand grows right back. In another episode, after Rose has been sadly left in an alternate universe, it turns out the severed hand is still around, and kinda twitchy. So the Doctor keeps it. Why not? In another episode, the Doctor is about to be reincarnated again, but David Tennant is still popular. So he pulls some sci-fi hogwash to stay David Tennant, and instead gives the reincarnation to the hand. The hand gets DNA from the Doctor's new friend replacing Rose, and becomes a human Time Lord hybrid. The hand/human/time thingy saves the day, and is then banished by David Tennant to an alternate universe to be with Rose. Rose and the hand are meant to be together. The hand's physical separation became emblematic of a social separation, and the hand resolves those underlying issues holding back the cast. David Tennant would soon be replaced with Matt Smith. So I'm gonna propose a sort of story. A story which combines all these stories in the most abstract, general way. Let's say a character loses a relationship in a catastrophic trauma, which also cuts off their hand. The hand is alive and allied with the main character. It can't undo the catastrophic trauma or reunite the main character with their lost love, but it does manage to resolve the character's feelings about the relationship, perhaps by establishing a new one. Maybe that's the plot of my next best-selling romance novel, Feeding the Hand That Bites Me. Or maybe I'm thinking about this too much. It's all I do here at Thinkster. Give me a hand. What other stories are there about severed limbs which have adventures resolving problems for the bodies they were separated from? It sounds weirdly specific, but I'm sure there's more out there. Bye-bye.